Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and wondered, why do they love him, but only like me? You're not weak. You're not lacking. You've done your best, shown up, been kind, steady, loyal. Yet somehow, it feels like others are chosen with ease, while you're still trying to prove that you're enough. It's a quiet ache, isn't it? That subtle question that whispers at night. What makes a man truly unforgettable in a woman's heart? Not the kind of man who has to chase her, but the one she chooses, without hesitation, without doubt, with her whole soul. Today, we're not talking about tricks or tactics. We're uncovering something deeper. Because love, the kind that roots itself in loyalty and quiet devotion, isn't won through charm or games. It's given to the man who moves like he belongs in his own life, whose strength isn't loud, but lived. This video is a mirror, not to reflect your flaws, but to awaken your worth. Together, we'll walk through 4 powerful truths. Not rules, not steps, but signs, sacred signals that show you're the kind of man a woman doesn't just date, but devotes herself to. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about unbecoming everything that made you doubt yourself in the first place. We'll speak of purpose. We'll explore emotional safety. We'll challenge your sense of leadership. And we'll dive into the sacred power of appreciation. Not because you need validation, but because you're ready for a deeper kind of connection. One built not on noise, but presence. Not on performance, but power. The kind Marcus Aurelius spoke of when he wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." If that calls to something inside you, if you're not just looking to date, but to grow into someone worthy of being loved deeply, then you're in the right place. Like this video if it resonates. Subscribe to Stoic now for more wisdom, and share your thoughts below. We grow stronger together. Now, let's begin the journey inward, to become the kind of man who never needs to chase love again, because love will follow him. Number 1, a man with direction, the North Star she can trust. A woman doesn't fall for a man simply because he notices her, praises her, or puts her on a pedestal. She falls for the man whose life has a pulse of its own. A man who moves through the world like he's chasing something far bigger than affection. And in that motion, in that silent momentum, he pulls her in, not by seeking her validation, but by living his truth so fully that it lights something inside her. It's a paradox most men never understand. The less you center your world around her, the more she wants to be part of it. Purpose is not a motivational poster. It's not a vague idea or some lofty destination. Purpose is presence with direction. It's how you wake up in the morning. It's how you hold your fork, how you speak in rooms where no one notices, how you train your body, and how you calm your mind when everything feels unsteady. A man with purpose is not in a rush to impress. He's busy becoming. Women feel this deeply. You see, when a man has no mission, no edge, no vision larger than romance, she senses it. She may stay for the moment, enjoy the attention, even reciprocate in parts, but not fully. Not in the way that changes both of you. Because part of her still feels she's with a boy searching for identity, not a man walking in destiny. The Stoics were fierce in this regard. Seneca said, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." A man without direction is like a ship with no rudder. He may float, he may move, but he never arrives. And no woman wants to build her life on a boat destined to drift. But here's what purpose truly looks like in practice. Not grand achievements, but small consistencies. It's how you honor your own growth without needing anyone to clap for it. It's working on your craft, even when it's hard. It's waking up to read, to learn, to reflect, not to perform, but to sharpen. It's standing by your values, even when they cost you comfort. That quiet discipline, that's what radiates. That's what she admires. Not because you told her who you are, but because you lived it before she even arrived. A man on a mission doesn't chase women. He attracts alignment. And this doesn't mean you act cold or distant or above emotion. It means you lead your life so clearly, so unwaveringly, that when she steps into your orbit, she feels it. This man doesn't need me. He chooses me. And that choice, that freedom without dependence, creates the space where real love can take root. When a man has purpose, he doesn't fold under pressure. He listens to opinions, but isn't swayed by them. He cares for her, but doesn't crumble for her. He leads with clarity, not control. And in that, She sees safety, not in domination, but in direction. And here's the real beauty. Your purpose inspires hers. When she sees you move with consistency, she begins to elevate her own energy. Not because you force her to, but because your fire lights hers. I knew a man once, not famous, not rich, but every room he walked into seemed to rearrange around him. His eyes didn't dart for approval. His words were few, but his posture said, I know where I'm going. He wasn't flashy, but he was focused. He didn't flirt with desperation. He moved with grace, discipline, and calm certainty. And women, they noticed. Not because he pursued them, but because he was already in motion and they wanted to walk beside that. So many men today try to compensate for the lack of inner drive with performance, loudness, ego, false confidence. But the truth is, it's the man who knows his lane, who runs in it humbly but fiercely, who awakens admiration. And admiration is what sustains connection far beyond attraction. Purpose gives you spine. Direction gives you substance. And that kind of man doesn't beg for attention. He becomes the gravity she can trust. Marcus Aurelius once said, let not your mind run on what you lack as much as on what you have already. A man of purpose doesn't obsess over what's missing. He builds on what he has, day by day, thought by thought, step by step. So ask yourself, not what does she want in a man, but what kind of life are you building that's worthy of someone walking into it? Your purpose isn't something to be declared. It's something to be lived, quietly, relentlessly. Not for applause, not for her, but for the man in the mirror who refuses to settle for sleepwalking through life. And when that man wakes up each morning, not to chase, but to build, that's when love finds him. Not because he sought it, but because he became someone worthy of receiving it. Number 2, the quiet power of emotional safety. A woman doesn't surrender her heart to the man who tries the hardest. She surrenders it to the one who makes her feel the safest. Not the safest in terms of protection from the outside world, but the safest inside herself, around you. You see, most men misunderstand what emotional safety means. They confuse it with agreement, with being agreeable, with never causing conflict. But emotional safety isn't about always keeping the peace. It's about being someone with whom she can fall apart, without fear of being left in pieces. In a world where women are constantly told to smile, to be strong, to perform, to be everything, all the time, she longs for a space where she can just be raw, unfiltered, vulnerable. And that space is you. When she opens up about her fears, she's not looking for solutions. She's searching for sanctuary. When she shares her wounds, she's not asking you to heal them. She's asking you to hold space while she does. A man who knows how to listen, truly listen, is rare and powerful. He doesn't jump to defend himself. He doesn't minimize her pain with logic. He doesn't flinch at emotion. He stays still, present, grounded. Epictetus said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. But how often do we ignore that? We rush to respond, to fix, to shift the discomfort away from us. But real presence isn't about reacting, it's about remaining. She may not say it aloud, but she feels it when you minimize her. A small comment like, you're overreacting, or it's not that serious, might pass by your ears quickly, but it lands in her heart like a dismissal. Over time, those moments add up, and the woman who once leaned in slowly steps back. But the man who says, I understand why that would upset you, even when he doesn't fully understand yet, that man becomes her anchor. Not because he solved her storm, but because he didn't run from it. Emotional safety isn't weakness. It's strength in its most compassionate form. It's the ability to hold your own emotional center steady, so she doesn't feel like loving you requires her to tiptoe around yours. It's being consistent, not warm one day and cold the next, not unpredictable, not performative. It's showing up the same way in the sunshine and in the storm. And that stability builds trust. You don't throw her vulnerabilities back at her, not in jest, not in arguments, not ever. You treat what she shares with reverence, not because you're afraid of her, but because you honor her. And honoring her means guarding what others have mishandled. I once knew a man who did this without saying much. He wasn't overly emotional. He wasn't dramatic. But when his partner spoke, he didn't look at his phone. He looked at her. When she cried, he didn't recoil. He moved closer. And when she spoke her fears, even the irrational ones, he didn't correct her. He held her hand and said, "I'm here." That was enough. That was everything. In that quiet posture of presence, he made her feel what few ever had. Not adored, not admired, but safe. And when a woman feels safe, everything changes. She no longer tests you, no longer holds back. She stops guarding. She starts giving. Not because she's weak, but because she finally feels strong enough to share her depth without defense. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." Emotional safety starts with that same looking inward, not reacting to emotion, but investigating your own first. Where does your fear of her feelings come from? Why do you need to win every disagreement? Why does her sadness make you uncomfortable? When you can sit with those questions without fleeing or blaming, you begin to transform from a man who reacts into a man who contains. And a man who can contain emotion, not suppress, not silence, but hold, becomes irresistible, not because of what he does, but because of what he embodies. This isn't a call to become soft. Stoicism is not apathy. It is mastery. Emotional safety is not passivity. It is strength with restraint. It is your steady hands offering calm while the world rages. It is your grounded spirit becoming her refuge, not her burden. So ask yourself, truly, can she tell you the hardest thing in her heart without fearing your withdrawal? Can she fall apart beside you and know she won't be alone in the pieces? Can she express, without apology, and still feel your steady presence across from her? If the answer is yes, then you've already become the rare kind of man she can truly love. Not just admire, not just desire, but trust. And that trust, that is the root of devotion. Number 3, the art of leading without chains. There's a quiet kind of leadership that doesn't yell to be heard or forced to be followed. It moves with such clarity, such unshakable presence, that others, especially the woman beside you, naturally begin to lean in. Not out of fear, not out of obligation, but because she feels safe in your direction. We live in a time where leadership is often mistaken for control, where loud voices and rigid postures are mistaken for strength. But that isn't what inspires love. That isn't what awakens devotion. What truly anchors a woman is not the man who dominates, but the one who directs with inner steadiness. Leadership, in its truest form, isn't about taking charge. It's about taking responsibility for your thoughts, your energy, your choices, and the emotional climate you bring into her world. It's not about ruling over her. It's about ruling over yourself. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." He led Rome not by fear, but by moral example, by emotional sovereignty, by clarity in chaos. And that is the kind of man women feel safe to follow, not because they're forced to, but because they trust where he's going. A woman doesn't want to lead every detail of the relationship. She doesn't want to constantly pull direction out of thin air. She wants to know that when she's tired, overwhelmed, or unsure, the man beside her has enough inner ground to carry them both, if only for a while. This doesn't mean you make all the decisions. It means you make decisions. You say, "I've got a plan." You don't passively wait for her to set the tone. You say, "Here's what I'm thinking. Join me if it feels right." You offer direction not with pressure, but with presence. I remember a moment between two people at a restaurant. He didn't ask 20 times what she wanted to eat. He didn't overthink every move. He simply looked at her, smiled, and said, "I know a place I think you'll love. Let's go." And her face lit up, not because of the restaurant, but because she could finally relax. She didn't have to lead. She didn't have to carry the invisible load. He had it, and she felt it. That's what leadership creates, not submission, but ease. But the moment leadership turns into control, everything collapses. Because control, at its root, is fear. It cages, it clutches, it restricts. It says, "I don't trust you, so I must contain you." And no woman thrives under surveillance. She may stay a while, but her soul, it'll always seek freedom. True leadership, on the other hand, says, "I trust you to be you, and I'll be here as myself, with strength." It respects her space. It welcomes her individuality. And in doing so, it creates a deeper connection, not of dependency, but of mutual respect. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." If your emotions swing like a broken compass, If your voice shakes when things don't go your way, if you collapse under disagreement, you are not yet a leader. You are a reactor, and love cannot root itself in reaction. A leader stays calm in discomfort. He doesn't shout over disagreement. He listens. Then he acts, not in panic, but with precision. His presence is steady, his words intentional, and that presence becomes her peace. The world will test you. So will she, not as a game, but as a way to feel if your foundation is strong. Not to punish you, but to see if she can relax into your steadiness. And when you pass those tests, not with power plays, but with poise, you unlock something sacred, trust. When she feels your confidence isn't a mask for insecurity, but a reflection of inner mastery, she leans in. Because she no longer feels she's being pulled. She feels she's being guided. And here's the paradox. The more freedom you offer, the more loyalty you earn. Because nothing is more attractive than a man who doesn't flinch when things get hard. A man who knows who he is, who doesn't lead by force, but by the strength of example. His life speaks louder than his voice. You become that man not through dominance, but through discipline. Not through control, but through courage. So lead, but do so like the Stoics taught. With temperance, with integrity, with direction, with dignity. And in that silent form of leadership, you will find something far more powerful than compliance. You will find respect. And where there is respect, love follows freely. Number 4, the power of appreciation. When effort is seen, love deepens. Sometimes, the slow unraveling of a relationship doesn't come from betrayal or conflict. Sometimes, it comes from something far quieter, being unseen. And for a woman who gives from her heart, who shows up not in grand gestures, but in quiet details, nothing hurts more than the slow fading of recognition. You may think she's pulling away because she's changing. You may think the spark just died. But often, what's really happened is this. Her efforts, once vibrant and full, began to feel invisible, and she couldn't keep pouring from an empty well. You see, women love through action. They show you they care in 1,000 subtle ways, remembering your favorite snack, texting you before a big meeting, sitting beside you in silence when you don't want to talk. And while none of these moments scream, "Look at me," they are the lifeblood of devotion. But here's the truth most men miss. What is unacknowledged begins to wither. And slowly, so does she. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not be ashamed of help. It is your task to see what needs to be done and do it without praise." But while the Stoic may do without needing praise, the partner who is consistently unseen begins to question whether their presence even matters. Appreciation isn't weakness. It's awareness. It's saying, "I see you. I see what you do. And it matters to me." It's not flattery. It's not performance. It's presence. Think of it this way. When someone waters a plant daily, not to be thanked, but to help it grow, that plant thrives. But even the strongest roots will dry without recognition, without the sunlight of being noticed. A woman doesn't want to be worshipped. She wants to be valued. Not just when she looks beautiful, not just when things are romantic, but when she makes the effort to understand you, to support you when you don't ask, to be your calm when you can't find your own. If you don't say anything, she won't immediately walk away. She'll just slowly begin to wonder if her energy is worth it. So speak. Not with grand declarations, but with grounded truth. Say things like, "Hey, I noticed how you helped me this week. That meant more than I said." Or, "Thank you for thinking of me. I don't say it enough, but I appreciate it deeply." Simple words. Lasting impact. But it doesn't end there. Appreciation also means you give back, not out of obligation, but out of alignment. If she's investing in your dreams, invest in hers. If she clears space for your peace, make space for hers. If she chooses you every day, don't let her feel like an afterthought. Seneca taught, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. And kindness isn't weakness. It's strength that chooses to be soft where others go hard. It's strength that doesn't need to dominate, but simply to say, "I see you. I value you." So be that man. The one who doesn't take love for granted. The one who doesn't wait until she's gone to say what could have been said. The one who sees effort as sacred, not expected. Because when appreciation flows both ways, love no longer feels like labor, it feels like home. And when a woman feels appreciated, she doesn't just stay, she blossoms. So now, take a breath. Let the silence speak. Let the truth echo. Because what we've just explored isn't simply about how to win a woman's heart. It's about how to earn her trust, how to hold space for her soul, and most of all, how to lead yourself first. Throughout this journey, we've uncovered 4 vital truths. Not flashy advice, not surface tactics, but inner shifts, changes in the very posture of your masculinity. We spoke of direction, how your clarity gives her confidence. We explored emotional safety, the calm harbor where her storms can land. We uncovered leadership not through force, but through grounded presence. And we ended with appreciation, the quiet art of seeing her effort, not with obligation, but with reverence. These aren't steps to memorize. They are ways of being, a return to your deeper nature, before the noise, before the masks, before the need to perform. In a world obsessed with appearing powerful, the rarest man is the one who is powerful but doesn't need to prove it. The one who leads himself, disciplines his mind, calms his reactions, and lets his love speak not in performance, but in presence. Seneca said, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." And that's what love asks of us, not grand promises, but daily integrity. Not perfection, but consistency. Not possession, but presence. So if you want love that stays, not just visits, become the kind of man who lives in alignment. The kind of man who doesn't collapse when tested, who doesn't manipulate to be seen, who doesn't withdraw when things get hard, but instead remains. Because in a world of inconsistency, steadiness is seductive. In a culture of instant gratification, patience is magnetic. And in a time when many seek control, freedom through respect becomes irresistible. The man who leads his own life will never have to chase someone else to complete it. So take this message, not as pressure, but as permission to rise, to heal what's broken, to sharpen what's dull, to walk with intention. If this touched something inside you, stay close. Subscribe to Stoic now, not because we offer answers, but because we're committed to walking the questions with depth, with strength, with soul. Like this video if it helped you remember who you're capable of being. Share your thoughts in the comments. This space is for real men, growing in real time. And remember, love doesn't always arrive when you're ready, but it always stays when you've become worth staying for. Until next time, keep showing up, keep leading within, keep living like the man love would choose without hesitation, and always stay stoic.